So now we got this super gorgeous log. What are we going to do with it? I mean, how am I supposed to mill this? Because again, I'm running into the trouble of how do you make a full thickness cut? And part of the answer is I'm actually going to take another slab here because I might as well. Because that's going to be perfect. And then you can even take another, I mean, because you're going it's one slab off the center and another slab off the center, and you essentially have two quarter sawn slabs. They're dead center, the center slice out of a tomato. So you take two of those, and then hopefully the rest of this is actually full thickness. But you then want to quarter it again. We're going to take a cut here. We're going to tilt this up, and again we're going to run into the throat problem. So we're going to go. This center happens to be off center, so we're actually going to take this side here and then make a bunch of slices this way. Take to quarter saw that. You'll see. Okay, let's take. I'm going to take another slab off of here. I'll take a 5/4 slab off of this. Why not? They would do a 5/4 and a 5/4, and then we'll be able to quarter saw that later. So where are we at? We've got a pretty good crack running all the way down. The center of the log is about 2/3 up. It's not in the dead center. So that's where I'm going to aim for. Is I'm going to aim 2/3 up, take a cut, and we're effectively going to have a top and a bottom quarter. I'm going to take the top quarter off, more or less. Where the grain is stacked, I can get a number of boards here that are actually perfectly stacked boards. So I can take probably 3 boards out of that are technically still quarter sawn. It would be, if I took a cut here, I'm getting some grain that's not stacked nicely, so the better cut is actually this direction. So I need to turn this down in order to do that cut. And if I'm going to be doing that, I might as well cut the other one at the same time. So it's time for some setup. So now I got 2 of the quarters set up. Obviously they're lopsided quarters. My fault. Anyway, the big one is going to yield some really beautiful lumber. But now we want to cut from the bottom. So this is what I consider additive cutting as opposed to subtractive cutting. If somebody else coined that term, then please let me know. I'll give you credit. So I'm cutting off the bottom. I've got a couple of shims, some boards under there that kind of raise these quarters to a specific height, because the rails that I have are different than the stock Woodland Mills rails. They are not 2.5 inches high, they're 3 inches high, which puts the minimum height higher for the mill. So I need to raise the log sometimes. All right, let's take a cut here from the bottom. So I've got this particular quarter up, and I got all ready to cut from the bottom, and guess what? It's too tall. Now, I could lay it down and take another cut here. Slice this way. But the grain isn't telling me to do that. The grain's saying to cut it this way. You know what? It is best stacked this direction. So I should take another thickness down here. That's what I should do. I'll probably need to take a little bit off the top here. Not much. Might as well do it while the mill's up. I might as well take a little bit of it. So I'll take the lower one here. Very much quarter sawing out of it. So again, wheelbarrow handle. I've still got this other big board to do, but it's basically the same thing. It's in reverse. Gotta get it on the mill, do the whole quarter sawing process. And with a mill like mine, it's a little difficult because I'm limited by throat size. So you have to kind of play a few games here and there in order to do the quarter sawing, and it is ultimately all about the grain. So you want to have that grain nice and stacked, 1, 2, right, all in a row on a board. That's the whole idea. If you got that, you're going to have a very dimensionally stable board. I am no expert on quarter sawing. Frankly, I think it's a pain in the neck. It just drives me nuts to do it, but you know, it is the way to cut oak. It just is. So I hope you like this little video on how I quarter saw things with a Woodland Mills mill, which has a limited throat size. Ultimately, it would be nice to make some modifications to the mill so that I wouldn't have that limitation. But ultimately, I may just end up buying a different mill. So, or the other alternative is to get a chainsaw mill that will run on the track here, and I use that for specific purposes. Frankly, I like my chainsaws, but I'm not excited about using them for milling. I really like the bandsaw, and that's pretty much the way it is. Anyway, Hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I just figured something out on accident. So you'll notice on this log that this center is off-center. It's slightly too far this way, but pretty good now this way. And what's actually going to happen, which is really cool, is on my next cut, as I rotate the log, you can see I've got a flat here, here, and here, but as I rotate the log for a final time, it's going to put the off-centerness high. So we go bump like that, and then the center of the log is going to be a little on the high side, which is going to be excellent for me to make my first cut if we're quarter sawing, because that will be relatively easy for the mill to do. Isn't that nifty? Figured that out by accident. So if you have an off-center, center to the log, you want to make this cut first, then that one, and then on your final turn, it'll bring your center on, hopefully on center and high, so that you can take this piece, which is right here. So this stripe here, we're going to take this piece off first to start our quarter sawing. How's that for something I just figured out? Hopefully it works. So I'm going to take the cut, and then you can see what I mean. So now you can see that I've got the center of the log here basically dead center, which is great, except it's a little bit high. But that's okay. You can see the throat of the mill here. Actually, we'll get this whole piece no problem. I can easily cut it here, or I can cut it an inch up, whatever you want to do. If I go an inch up, then I'll have some pretty nice wood, I think. So I'm going to cut in a 5/4, 4/4, 5/4, whatever, up a little bit, and then I'm going to make a slice down, and then I've got the two center slices out of the log, which are both going to be quarter sawn, technically. Isn't that cool? And then I can take the quarters that are left, slice them, and do my regular quarter sawing. How's that for fun? Always the best part of milling. If there was such thing as perfection, that's darn close to it. Beautiful. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cut 5/4 down and take a slab, and then another 5/4 down and take a slab, and both will be quarter sawn. And here's the dead center cut on the same log. Beautiful. And there's the crack down the middle. But odds are, whoever uses this is just going to use from here to here anyway, this piece. They're going to have to cut down the middle anyway, so it's not really like this is going to get used as a slab. It's going to get used as a quarter sawn flooring or cabinetry or something. So I'm going to take one more cut over here because we still have good stack grain here, so I'm going to take one more cut this way, and then you'll notice that the center here is slightly this way. So when I flip it, I'm probably going to start my first cut on this quarter that's here. I'm going to start my first cut here, right there. From there, I'll take this piece out of this particular quarter, and that way the throat on the mill will be able to grab this tall. How's that piece? Man. I just don't think it gets a whole lot better than that. What's that? It's got to be 16 inches wide? Oh, that's a good guess, huh? In fact, exactly 16. That's funny. Okay, anyway. There you have that. So now I'm going to take the top quarter off. What I've done is I've measured from center up 5 turns. I'll take this top quarter off, and then I'm going to go down 5 turns and take from where it is now to center. I'll have 1/4 sawn board that's nice and wide, and then I'll go down another 5 turns and take that. I'll have another 1/4 sawn board that is nice and wide, and then I'll have the top quarter and the bottom quarter that remain, and then I'll do my usual quarter sawing on those. Here's this one. So I've taken, now this is the second slab, there's one there, but this is the second slab, nice and clear. One knot here and just one at the end, the very tip there, but nice and clear otherwise. Pull this off. See what's underneath. Perfect. Just beautiful. So the next cut, according to the grain here, the grain is shorter here and longer here. So I'm actually going to make another cut this way. I'm actually going to take another cut this way. And what's going to happen then, as soon as I do that, I'm going to take another board out of here. As soon as I do that, then I'll be able to flip it and start taking other cuts. Yeah, the grain's short on top and the grain is long, so if you figure out where the ring is kind of going down long this way, long that way, so you want to take your cut there. Because if I take it this way, then the grain is going to be further stacked this way, and that's not right. You want it to be as straight stacked as possible. So now we do the usual and cut from the bottom. And all we're going to do then is keep turning these. So right now they're upright. I'm going to turn them in to each other, cut from the bottom, then turn them back up and cut from the bottom. And you're taking slices out of the quarters every time you do that. Makes for really nice lumber. I think showing this is good enough for finished product. So I'll conclude the video here. Hope you guys like it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.